And welcome back to Retrospect My Fantasy, where we normally take a look at video game franchises throughout their history. However, today we're doing our first ever community play day, and we are going to be playing Warframe. So before we actually get into the game, got a couple things to go over. The first is that we are partners with Humble. And if you've never been over there, I highly recommend you take that link that I just threw up into chat and go check it out. It's a great place to pick up games, ebooks, comics, programming software, a bunch of tools to help in programming and game development, things like that. Go check them out. They're great. Because not only do you get all these things, you usually get them at a great deal. They're frequently on sales off cycle with other places like Origin or Uplay or Steam. But every purchase helps support charities, amazing charities, some of the best charities in the world. And that's the most important part. You're getting yourself a great product. You really are. And usually at a good deal. But the most important thing is you're helping charities out. And by taking our link, you also help support this channel. It's only a little bit. It's not like some huge grandiose amount, I'm not going to lie. But it helps. Every little bit helps. And I would not put myself on the same level as like a charity. That is by far the most important part of using Humble. But I'm not going to lie. If you're going to go there and check things out already, please use my link. By using my link, it doesn't add anything to your purchase in terms of like the purchase price. It doesn't take anything away from the charities. They just take an additional percentage out of what they would have received and send it to me. So, one last thing before we get into the game, and that is that I have open right now our Discord. I've got 2 Warframe channels, and the reason I have 2 Warframe channels right now is because Warframe only allows 4 players at a time. And that's not necessarily such a bad thing, because there's a lot going on in any one match of Warframe. But in case you guys can't play with me, maybe you guys can hook up and play with each other as well. So that is why I have 2 Warframe channels open. I'm currently in channel number 1. But it is now time to get into the game. So I am using a new frame, just came out the other day. I just finished painting her, so to speak. Cora. This is something I do. I make all my frames' weapons match their color scheme. Oh, forgot one thing. Nope. Wait. Yes, you. Copy frame colors. It kind of works. So today, I was thinking we would, if anyone joins me, go through and do essentially a mission of each type. Eat all of the major types. And just kind of show it off. One thing you need to know about Warframe is that there is a lot of systems going on in this game all at once. Like, when I go to choose a mission, I'm not just selecting a mission. I'm selecting a lot of stuff. I'm selecting, because I'm pretty far in the game, I'm selecting a million things. First off, I'm selecting a planet that I want to go to, based largely on the resources that I know drop there, because I want to collect certain resources for certain things that I'm building. I also want to make sure that the mission is a high enough level that I can actually get something out of it in terms of experience for my gear. And because I'm far enough along that I can select a syndicate that I'm a part of, I want to make sure that I have my syndicate logo on. That's what that weird spiral thing on my frame's chest is. That way I'm getting syndicate rep. There's a lot of small systems going on, and they've all just been kind of layered in on top of each other as time went on. I mean, this game is almost 5 years old at this point. And there's a lot. Like, these are all the primary quests. I've only not completed 2 because I don't really like the Glassed Gambit. It's not. I don't find it very fun. And then there's a new one that I haven't even started yet, just because. So, where do we want to go? We will start off with an assassination mission. And the reason we're going to start off with an assassination mission is because they are frequently some of the best ways to get stuff. To get weapon parts and blueprints, to get rarer resources from that planet. And they usually act as a gateway from one zone to the next.
We need to find the VIP and take them down. Do not let the target escape.
The Grenier deteriorate over time. Is that what makes them violent?
Yeah, let's try out this new
under suspicion of
needle gun.
broken technology that
I
grants him
don't
powerful
know.
abilities. We cannot allow this. Get to his location and
Okay. So, it's kind of like an SMG style weapon that shoots just little tiny darts. You'll notice that all of these things that I'm hitting are kind of glowing. That is a quick indicator to me that these things are openable. And you open things by hitting them or by crouch jumping next to them. Unless that's a locker like this, in which case you actually have to interact with it. And you may have noticed, so I'll show you. I crouch jumped, also known as bullet jumping. It's it does a minuscule amount of damage. I'm pretty sure it does exactly the right amount of damage to open something up. I'm pretty sure that was tested. So that guy right there is our assassination target. The woman that was on the screen a little bit ago, that is Lotus, and she's kind of our... if you're familiar with Batman mythos, she's kind of our Oracle.
Do not underestimate him.
She gives us a lot of information and kind of keeps us abreast of what's going on mission-wise.
You're making this too easy.
And you'll see every once in a while, at least during this mission, that this thing pops up that says out of 3 kills, speed kills. Every mission you go into, you'll have a kind of sub-objective. And that sub-objective
This ship is crawling with grunts.
gives you a whole bunch of experience if you complete it.
Another dead Tenno.
And that's all it really does. I mean, they're pretty convenient in that regard. Oh, we're already here. Okay. Haven't even used my ability yet.
Foolish Tenno, do you realize your Lotus has sent you to die?
Has she?
Your corpse will serve us well.
Because I'm well overpowered,
Fear will
sir.
not control me. Let's go.
Target acquired.
So there's a lot of stats when it comes to like weapons, and and aside from just damage, the most important ones are multi-shot, which is exactly as it sounds. You fire with each depression of the
You're still in the clear. No detection of
trigger.
enemy
You
sensors.
fire multiple rounds. Not multiple rounds out of your magazine. Important note. Just multiple rounds come out of your gun.
My Warframe is strong.
And then piercing, or punch through, I think is what they call, is the word they use, or term they use, is a number of meters that the weapon is capable of punching through to another target. It's been a while since I've had to explain these things to somebody, or look them up, so don't quite quote me on that. And the biggest thing when it comes to leveling anything up is just use it. The more you use an item, or the more you use something to kill enemies, the more likely it is to level up. And once we get to a completed mission, I'll show you the level up screen if you've never seen it before. Let's use my ability. I haven't used that yet. That is not very long range. Decent damage though. It's supposed to be a whip. I don't know.
They won't be bothering us anymore.
It's too
Let's
short
get
range
out
to
of
be directed. Okay. So you can't really see it on here because everything leveled up, but usually what you'll see is you'll see a blue bar, and that is your earned experience. That is literally what that item earned throughout the mission. The yellow, I'm pointing at the screen and you can't see it. Alright, so here we go. The blue is the earned experience. So that's whatever you got for actually using the weapon.
It will be marked on navigation.
Or in the terms of your frame. Whatever it earned. The yellow is obviously bonus experience, as it says right there. And that is just for completing the mission, you got bonus experience because you did stuff. You got a little affinity boosters, you got a whole bunch of stuff. Now, the things that we picked up from Vor in that mission, most importantly, is this blueprint right here. It's called the Seer. It's a pistol, a really good pistol, because it has a 4x zoom. I think it's a 4x zoom built in. And it does even damage across all three types, which is very rare for weapons in Warframe. Most weapons do slash damage. There's 3 damage types: slash, puncture, and impact. And they affect different enemy types differently. But the Seer has even all 3. The only downside that the Seer has is that it is a hit scan, or it is not a hit scan weapon. Which means that, well, hope you can lead. Alright, so that was an assassination mission. What else do we got here? Capture's a main mission type. Yeah, Warframe. It's Community Day. It's Community Play Day. The idea is to play games with the community. And this is a free game that anyone can download.
You'd think they'd clone something a little less ugly.
So I thought it would be a good introductory game. Okay, so we just accidentally got a stealth kill. Stealth kills are usually really awesome, fancy looking, and they get you bonus experience. And if you can chain them together, that experience continues to grow up to 5%.
We cannot let our
Or
target know
5%,
we're here.
500%.
Track them down quickly.
Oh, that's right, we're on a capture mission. I should probably go chase down my capture target. So, basically capture missions. The whole point of the capture mission is to just chase down a target as quickly as possible. The target is going to do things like turn invisible and...
Mission complete. The captive has been escorted to the extraction point. Well done.
It's not that demanding, is it? I've never... Even on my old computer, which was not really what I would call a gaming computer, I was able to play it. I mean, I had to dumb down the graphics. And I guess a lot of people don't want to do that, but... if you're on high-end or higher-end graphics like I am right now, which is obviously where it looks its best, it is kind of demanding. Every once in a while, if there's a whole bunch of players simultaneously, I can chug. It is definitely a big download. That is very true. This game is not forgiving on your hard drive space. It's not quite as big as like Payday 2, which is... Oh god. I love Payday 2. Kind of. But that game... is ridiculous. Okay, so we've got our capture target. I don't know why I'm kind of screwing around just killing guys. So whenever you complete your mission... congrats! It's not. Well, damn, I should go find Warframe then. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Payday 2. But, man, that game... It takes, like, a day and a half to download. It's freaking huge. It's optimized fairly well, but... You know, when I first saw Destiny, I was like, oh, cool. A more story-driven Warframe, because at the time, Warframe didn't have much of a story so to speak of. But they've changed that a bit. There's actual, like, real story moments in this game now. And then the more and more I saw people playing Destiny, I was like, oh, it's a not as good Warframe with story that's okay. And Destiny 2 is definitely way better. And they are definitely way closer together. Now that Destiny 2 has more class options and Warframe has a large open area. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do in the large open area, but now that it has it, they are getting closer and closer together. Big difference is that, in my opinion, was it? I've heard a lot back and forth on that. Okay, so we just did a capture mission. Now we're going to do the opposite of that. Yeah. The one thing that I will give to Warframe over Destiny is that, well, until relatively recently, Warframe's team was like 12 people.
is a rescue.
I don't know how big
We need to
Destiny's team
find
was,
and liberate
but
the
considering it's
hostage before
Bungie,
any harm
I
comes to them.
imagine it was a lot more than
If we
10.
can avoid alerting them, this might be easier.
Alright, so now we are on a rescue mission. Our job is to track down somebody that was kidnapped by this faction, the Grenier, and free them. Hopefully without anybody setting off an alarm.
We can't leave without rescuing the prisoner. Keep searching.
Now, there's essentially two different types of ways to do what I would call stealth-based missions. You can either do things this way, where you just kill all the enemies before they can set off alarms, which is what most frames have to do. Or if you pick up an actual stealth-based frame, you can, like, specifically Loki is my personal favorite. You can avoid pretty much everything. By being invisible for pretty much the entire mission. Now, it's not nearly as fun as running around
Nobody knows you're here.
killing a bunch of clones. Semi-failed clones. But it's a lot faster and with a lot less risk. Oh hey, we've unlocked our second ability. I should use that. See what it does. Maybe I should look it up and see what it does. It's some so I recall reading that it's some sort of like ensnaring ability, but that could mean a lot. Oh, punch through. Okay, so
You are
once we're
approaching
in
the
here,
area. Careful. If the wardens detect you, they will surely initiate the execution sequence.
we just can't be detected. So those little things on the ground that I just blew up were electrical traps. They really suck.
We've reached the prison. Find our prisoner in one of these cells.
So both of the enemy factions have their own way of unlocking things. And the Greniers is by far my favorite. Because it's
You've located
way,
the
way
hostage.
easier
Escort
to do
the
on the
prisoner
fly.
to the extraction
Just like
point, and I'll take care of the rest.
mashing space. I saw your sniper laser. Ooh, they're fighting back now. Where is our... That is something in this game that actually that's something a lot of games really need to work on, is how their indicators work, because that tells me to go through here. Oh, there was a door there. My bad. And a lot of these navigational things that I'm doing quickly are just kind of a learned experience thing. Oh god, there used to be this trick. So That is just dash and then melee attack, or slide and then melee attack, which is walking forward, crouch, melee. There was a trick back in the day that you could do with that called coptering. And it was a total glitch, and how it worked was the game didn't really understand, it didn't have any like friction for certain things. So when you did that, you would gain momentum, because as you can see when you do it, you gain a little bit of speed. But there was no limit to the amount of speed you can gain, because it was based on your attack speed, is how much you slide forward in your speed boost. Well, people found a way that you could take really, really fast weapons, make them even faster, and then you do that, and it would send you flying across the map. And if you weren't good or controlled, you would just slam into stuff constantly. So, one thing I need to go over. Last mission results. Alright, so this Phase Spectre Blueprint. That is essentially a way that you can make copies of one of your loadout, and then when you're in a mission, you can throw it out, and there will be effectively a bot version of a Warframe. It's kind of dumb. It doesn't use its abilities very well, and it doesn't prioritize enemies correctly, but it helps. Alright, so let me catch up with chat, which is only one thing. D2 isn't really good just yet. Gotcha. Well, I mean, Destiny 1 had 3 DLCs at the end. Is Destiny 2 going to get 3 DLCs as well? Alright, so we did an assassination, a capture, a rescue, and exterminate. Alright. So this is kind of the bread and butter mission of Warframe. Well, depending on how they implement them and when they get around to them, it could easily surpass even a free-to-play game like Warframe that has 7 years of constant updating, and is by most accounts considered a better game. Having not played it, I can't say, but most people I know that have played both will say that Warframe is overall a better game, like just like mechanically and optionally, like the number of options available. But obviously, Warframe still has a lot to be desired of in the story department. Oh, setting off an alarm.
Alarms reset.
Wow, surprised I got him. Largely, you're right. There's about a dozen different missions, but they just repeat over and over again. And even then, they're many of them are largely just one mission type, with a slight nuance. I mean, granted, it's been a while since I've watched Destiny 2, but the few times that I did, it seemed like there was really only, like, what, I would call defense missions, like hold a point until the big bad guy shows up and then kill him. There was definitely... Oh, no, that's not true. I watched a couple of raids, which were a little different. And Warframe has one raid, but it's very difficult to find people to do it, and if you are not prepared for it, it will just ruin you. And when I mean prepared, I mean like spend a day figuring out your team comp and whatnot. Oh, for the raid? Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. One thing that one thing that Warframe does very, very well is they release content about... No one. We're just talking about game raids. In the, like, MMO style, big missions, lots of players. No. I don't even know if Kate's playing right now. I haven't watched a Kate stream in such a long time. Because we stream in similar time slots, usually. No. No, I wouldn't date Kate. I've too much professional respect for all that she has done, despite the adversity that female gamers get.
The enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to extract.
Actually, I look up to her. She is largely...
Arms have been
It's because of her that I've modeled certain things for my own stream the way I have. She's kind of like a mentor, so to speak. But one thing that Warframe does very well is they have lots of content updates. Usually the updates are just new weapons, new frames. And I can't imagine that that's going to keep going forever. They can't keep that up before they just run out of ideas. At least I wouldn't think so. But they do, which is fine. It gives more and more options for loadouts and customization of how you like to play. But one thing I don't really like is... I both do and don't. I love the Prime stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've never played Warframe, there's an entire section called the Primes, which are slightly better versions of the frames. And the storyline behind them is that is like the original version of that frame. When that frame was first designed by the Orkin, that is it. That is what it was, how it is. And all the ones that we are using that aren't the primes are kind of like pseudo mass-produced versions. So that was an exterminate. The whole idea of the exterminate mission is just to run around, kill all the enemies. Real simple. So let's see here. Yes, they do. The biggest drawback to the primes is you either have to pay real money or you have to spend hours upon hours grinding to get them. at least in my opinion, that's the biggest downside. Now, I've spent a lot of money on this
is the
game, I'm
mobile
not going to lie.
defense mission. You must
But that is
deliver
because
payloads
I
and
feel
defend
that
a
it
number of
is
locations while I break
worth it.
the network.
I've
Be prepared for heavy resistance.
spent
I can't do this without you.
2,000 hours playing this game.
As we did in the old days.
There must be a reason. And not out of like an obligation, I didn't owe them that money, although some would consider it that I do. I just felt that they had earned
This will only get more difficult.
money from me.
Get to the
Because
terminal
you can
and prepare
play
for
this
enemy
game
resistance.
getting everything, including the primes, without paying a penny. It means a lot more time on your side, but you can. And I normally do the normal frames and the normal weapons on their own, but I have, ever since they went to the this new system of acquiring prime stuff, the relics, as opposed to just certain missions, I've purchased three prime frames,
Terminal spotted.
but
Upload me.
I've
and
purchased them
prepare
from
to
other
defend.
players who have done the grinding for me using the premium currency, platinum. Because back in the day, me and my buddies used to grind out rare mods and weapons and whatnot and sell them in the marketplace to other players for platinum. And now that I just have a whole bunch, I've got 5,000, I just buy them. Alright, so mobile defense. We're given a little
I'm in, Tenno.
packet,
This will take a moment.
and we have
Multiple
to
targets
protect it.
ahead.
Usually it's a like a little hacking thing, and we have to protect the computer that the little hacking module is installed in. Actually, I think that's the only mobile defense mission type, isn't there? I know for regular defense, not mobile defense, there's a couple different types, but they primarily fall into either a reactor or a cryopod.
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
And what we're doing is we're calling what many Warframe players just call the blender. You just sit in front of an area and mash your melee attack button like crazy, killing anything that gets in your way. That's fair.
All data logs indicate that there is a broken artifact somewhere here. Get to it now, defend it, and then we can leave.
No, that's fair. When it comes to this game specifically, there's very, like, I spent money on League of Legends. Not a lot, but some. I think I spent a grand total of, over 3 years, $50 on League. Oh,
I'm in.
and here's a
Tenno.
cryopod we have to defend.
This will take a moment.
And I was okay with that. And then I sold my League account a long time ago. Not because I was particularly good at League and had a high standing. No. I sold League because I hated the game and stopped around the end of Season 3, beginning of Season 4. I just couldn't stand playing the game anymore. And I had a friend who did. He loved the game. And so I sold it to him for $100 because I had
Working on it.
almost
Continue
all
to
of the
defend.
character champions unlocked, and a fair number of skins, including some rare legendary, whatever, like the ones that had like full treatments were. Full, including animation and voice work treatments. Most of those were purchased for me for gifts, so I felt like that time I made out. But
The odds were against us, Tenno.
League is
Mission complete.
when I first played League, I knew that this wasn't a game. This wasn't the game for me. But all my friends loved it, and we played it, and they played it all the time. And as long as I was playing with them, I had a good time. But then some of them stopped playing it, and another one took it. A couple of them started taking it like real seriously. Wanted to like form a team and play every night for a certain amount of time. Not that they were going to go pro, but they just wanted to take it more seriously than I did. And I was like, you know what, guys? That's great for you and all, but not for me. And I got out before I was too invested. And I get that. I get that. Actually, that's something that me and my friends, my real life friends, frequently do. Is we get like really deep into a game. Usually first-person shooters. We did Warframe for a while, but they didn't like the grindy. Some of them didn't like the grindiness after a while, so we stopped, or they stopped rather. All right, so that was a mobile defense. Essentially, you run around to different points and defend them. Pretty simple. A regular defense is there's a one fixed point, and you have to defend that. It's a lot, or can be a lot harder when you're on your own, but we're on Mercury, where the things are pretty easy.
Our position has been compromised. Defend the cargo until
For
reinforcements
someone
arrive.
who's as well stocked as I am. If you're wondering what that thing above my head is, it's called a sentinel. It helps, it can kill enemies, and it usually helps provide an additional service. The one that I have takes pictures of things. You get experience for some of the things you take pictures of. As long as you've not gotten all the potential pictures to unlock all the information about the thing. They're called codex scans, but they're pictures. And this Warframe has an additional partner in this very ferocious cat, which makes things very, very easy on me, having two partners as opposed to the usual one. Especially when it's as aggressive as this guy is. Oh yeah, need to try out number 2. Okay, kind of surrounds them and looks like barbed wire chains or something. And 3. Protect, heal. No, we want you to attack. To date, the 2 games that we got into most heavily were Killing Floor 1 and Team Fortress 2. As a large group, anyway. TF2, very good game. I haven't touched that game in a long time, but not since the Man vs. Machine. Was that the name of the update? Which was essentially just a horde mode for TF2. But I remember liking TF2 quite a bit. I bet if I went back now and used some of the old... So, for a while, me and friend Roland were innovating NG strategies. We were trying to do unique things as engineers, just to kind of throw people off of their game. And some of the things that we would do, you know, people would get used to because we played on the same servers over and over again. Because they were convenient in that they had low latency. And they also played the maps that we wanted to play on. Badwater and Gold Rush. And there were a lot of the same people on the servers day after day, so they started learning our strategies, so we'd have to try new things, and then they would learn that, and we'd have to try something else. Yeah, we're gonna leave. You can potentially do that endlessly. Each set of waves, the enemies get stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where they will not die. Unless you have something that can instant kill, which there are a few things. Or, actually, no, there's nothing that instant kills, but there's a few things that do just massive amounts of damage. And you can just cheese it. There's a frame that can create a gravitational well. So, create a gravitational well, all the enemies run towards it, they all get caught in the gravitational well, and it just keeps placing them there. That's all he does. He doesn't even fight. He just places the gravitational well there. And then you have another frame that just sits there and is completely built to the nines for dealing damage in one particular way with one particular weapon, and then just drops the hammer once the gravity well is fairly full. So that was a defense. Now survival. Survival is the other type of potentially infinite mission. And in this, I mean, just like the game type says, you just have to survive. It's effectively a horde mode with a mechanic of needing to move around to collect certain resource packs.
While a lone Tenno operates for supplies. Set off the alarms to start.
Infestation. An Orican weapon that backfired.
That guy that just came on screen for a moment and said something really dumb. That is technically me. That's my character. But I'm not gonna say anything more than that, because it's a big story thing. So if anybody wants to play Warframe and they watch this video, they won't get spoiled.
Hold on. Emergency life support is inbound. The first life support capsule has arrived. Activate it when your supply is low. Look for personal life support modules dropped by fallen enemies.
Alright, so like the woman said, we're on the hunt for life support modules that some of these enemies have, and every once in a while she's going to essentially teleport in a whole bunch of like big old life support towers that ostensibly we're supposed to go and collect, but I rarely do that. You'll see there's a little life support
Life support on the way.
percentage meter. Once that gets down to about 50%, I will go and collect all the ones that are out there. And then I'll just dash back in here and
The life
And
support
start all over
capsule
again.
is now available.
if you're wondering what my personal appeal is, I really love survival missions because of what I'm doing right now. If I had a full team and we were on a higher level survival, essentially what I would do is certain people would have certain jobs. And that's all they would do. You'd have one person with a single high damage output weapon. And their whole job would be find the big guys that have the high hit points. Oh, need to go collect life support. And then they would kill the big guys. And most people would just have medium damage weapons that have either fast fire rate or fast reload speed, or hopefully both, actually. And their job would be to kill all the small stuff, so that the guy with the big heavy hitting weapon can concentrate on the big stuff. And then there's the job that I usually had, which was the emergency backup, which is me playing
Life support capsule.
Loki, being invisible pretty much the whole time, running around getting the normal full-size life supports whenever the need should arise. So we're gonna go actually pick up one of those guys, because it wouldn't be any fun. And I almost feel like I should have reset my account. I mean, no, I'm not gonna do that. But so that is an air supply tower. It gives about 25%, I want to say. Or maybe it's only 20%. It gives a lot.
Tenno, prepare for life support.
Not. And the main thing about the enemies is there's three, well, I guess technically like 5 factions of enemies, but really there's only 3. There's the Grenier, who are the weird
Additional life support
clone
has
guys that I was fighting earlier, who use like machine guns and sniper rifles. They use standard kinetic weapons. There's the Corpus, who use a whole lot of robotics and effectively slave labor without actually being
When you are ready, go to extraction. The raid is off to a successful start.
like clones or anything like that, but just have a lot of augmented people and a lot of robots. They use energy-based weapons. So they are like what you would consider like kind of standard sci-fi, like laser rifles and things of that nature. There's the Infested, which are these guys, which are
Life support has been replenished.
horrible monster versions
Life support
of
incoming.
both of the other factions. If you look closely, you can actually see like bits of armor and stuff from the other two factions. All twisted and messed up. And then we've got the God, I can't remember what they're called now. But they're based on the other three factions, but have been enslaved by an Orokin device. Orokin are like space Atlanteans. They developed the Warframes to fight a war, but then the pilots of the Warframes, the Tenno, kind of turned on them. But then again, they were just hard to control children anyway, so they were unreliable weapons. So they just kind of put them on ice and created the Infestation to fight their war for them. And it worked. It worked real well. And they had it under control. Everything was going great. And then the Grineer turned on them. And, well, when the Grineer turned on them, that was everybody. And things did not go so well. Alright, so the next... Where's our first... Here it is. Alright, so we're going to do a mission against the Corpus, but we're going to do what's called an Arcwing mission, which was an update, I don't know, way longer than that, like 3 years ago, where you get to fly around in space on a device called an Arcwing that attaches to your Warframe. It has its own weapons, its own powers. You don't get to free fly, but it made things a little bit more interesting throwing these missions in. I mean, there's the same basic mission types, but it definitely changed things up a little bit. So, this spot right here is a grind spot like no other. If you hang out literally right here, I think you can get a little closer, but enemies will, if you're not on an exterminate mission, which has a finite, well, a semi-finite number of enemies, they will continue to spawn in this room and just kind of float about doing their own thing. And you get to kill them to your heart's content. As long as you're on like a sabotage or some other mission type. Ooh. Thank you for having radar. So, most of the time you don't have radar that shows you where all the enemies are and where all the item boxes are. I happen to have something equipped that shows me that stuff. And it's a really, I wouldn't say crucial thing to have, but helpful. Very helpful thing to have. So the reason that I love the Arcwing stuff, and the reason I love it so much, is because it reminds me of playing Zone of the Enders. As long as you're only doing melee attacks, you're pretty much just playing Zone of the Enders. Oh, that's a marker situation.
We fought with honor.
And Zone of the Enders is by far one of my favorite video games. Specifically Zoe 2. Zoe 1 has a lot of problems. Primarily in that I'm not even opposed to the child soldier thing that they did in Zo 1, because that harkens back to classic anime like Gundam. And I love Gundam. My problem with Zo is that our character that we were playing in the original Zo is too much Amuro. And if you're a Gundam fan, that tells you everything you need to know. And if you're not a Gundam fan, he's too much of a whiny little bitch.
The enemy is broken.
Yeah, you
Well
can't...
done.
If you're only doing melee attacks, sometimes you don't even know what's going on. You just kind of make sure your little dot, your little triangle is pointed towards other triangles. And that you're mashing the melee button. Let's use some of these abilities. Alright, so I've got that guy. Oh, that's my defensive technique. It creates a giant cloud of mist that obscures the heat signature for like missiles and things of that nature. And this creates a small area, well, actually a rather large area, that has a whole bunch of small explosions just happening in it. And you can layer them on top of each other. Well, if I had the energy to do so. Actually, above all else, what makes Warframe different from pretty much any other game is the melee combat. The melee combat is actually kind of dynamic, as long as you're not spamming it, as long as you're actually, like, trying to perform melee maneuvers. There's actually a lot of dynamics to the melee combat. And there's just a lot of nuance in general. There's your basic attacks. If you go into a stance mode, which all melee weapons can have a stance now. Let's go to a big open area. Let's go show off the free roam zone. But if you go into a melee stance, your different attacks, different parts of your attacks will do different damage amounts for different types. So, let's see here. So, I just entered melee stance, so this is my standard melee attack pattern. That was a special. So, I've got a slash, stab. So that third one is going to be a puncture hit. And it's going to do more puncture damage than this weapon normally does. And then, if we go into our menu and go into the melee combos, we can see attack, attack, hold, attack, attack, attack. Okay, so 1, 2, hold, attack, attack. So that's going to be a bunch of slashes with a giant slash right at the end. That's the kind of dynamics in the melee combat that there is. Like, every melee weapon has a different combo set. And Hey there, buddy. Oh! That had to hurt. So this is the free roam zone. There's all sorts of BS you can do here. Every once in a while we'll just get missions for while we're out here. But one of my favorite things to do is fish. I don't like fishing in most other games, but I like fishing in this because it's fairly quick. And it's a lot more visceral. And we can do lots of stuff with our fish. Even though I just skewered it with a spear and pulled it out of the water, we can save it and put it in an aquarium if we wish. I've got a bunch of small versions of a lot of the fishes in my aquarium. We can turn them into parts for materials for building various things. We can turn them into rep with the locals from near the free roam zone. There's all kind of stuff we can do with them. But there's also wrong thing. Mining, which has a bunch of precious minerals all around the map, and you use kind of a laser to dig them out. Now, the closer you are on the line, where is it? It should be, oh, right there. On that line, the closer you are to it, the more of the gems you're gonna get. Just kind of depends on how good at tracing you are with a mouse with a tiny little laser. I'm moderately okay. I've had a lot of practice doing it at this point. There's a whole bunch of enemies. There's all sorts of stuff around here. The real fun, though, happens at night. Because, of course, there's a day-night cycle. It's a free roam area. And that's a thing that games do now in free roam areas. Also, if you are far enough along, you can have your... Oh, that's not ours. Oh, there it is. You can get inside your Arcwing and fly around the map. And apparently you use standard weapons with your Arcwing. Oh god, I just got rid of it. So I can only use it for transport. I've never actually used that before. I had no idea what would happen. I was anticipating being able to use, like, real weapons. Oh, and you eliminate... Oh, you can also only get in so deep of water for some reason. We've got a mission. I didn't even realize we got a mission. Eliminate nearby enemies. Okay. Did I do it? No? I guess I didn't respond in time. Even though there was still time left. This area still has a few bugs in it. Not gonna lie. It's not perfect. It's not even fully realized by their own machinations. But it's kind of fun just to have an area so large to do your bullet jumps and aerial glides and other BSery. And yes, I know that's probably not a word. There's also just not a lot of... to be honest, there's just not a lot in here. And you don't get random missions very frequently. So... ooh, we poisoned him. Good job, kitty cat. Oh god, our cat was tearing him to pieces. But there's lots of little fishing holes, little mining spots. A lot of random BS to do here. But the most important thing to do here happens at night. So we got about, I think about 10 minutes before the night comes. So we're gonna go back to the, just I guess in general, go to the nearby human encampment and see if we can't pick ourselves up a mission. Because I'm sure you guys would just love to watch me skewer fish this whole time. What the hell are you guys shooting at? Well, nothing now. There's also a lot of turrets out here that will just shoot at you with, like, rockets. They're not very friendly. But then again, we are killing... God, I don't even know how many Grineer I've killed over these years. Okay, let's see if this tells me how many Grineer I've killed over the years. Let's see our profile. Let's see here. 162,000 Grineer. Hoo boy. Yeah, okay. I've caused them enough financial burden that I guess it's justified. Or not even financial, just resource of burden. But I guess it's justified that they just, you know, shoot me on sight. Also, the fact that my body is worth who knows how much on the open market. Alright. Let's get ourselves a mission.
Ayo! You are frightened Unum's sight, Sura.
Go find an artifact.
Magnificent.
Capture a Grineer agent. Yeah, we're not very powerful yet. Let's go capture a Grineer agent.
The Quills are at it again, telling me an important Orican relic is being unearthed by the Grineer. The Quills would like this relic back.
Okay.
I would like to keep the Quills happy. Will you oblige?
We're not going to get those 10
Details about
unalerted
this
enemy
relic and its
kills.
whereabouts are scarce. I need you to do some digging. At my waypoint, you'll find the commander responsible for taking the relic. Eliminate him.
Okay. Well, that's going to be pretty easy. Killing a single person. That's what I do very well. Well, we have to kill a bunch of people to try and until the commander. Yeah, sorry, minigun. I do not want you spinning up on me. Getting rid of turrets. Last thing I need is a bunch of automated guns going after me. All these guys that have teleporters, man. Oh, napalms are the worst. So, first off, they shoot you with a weapon that does just straight up a fair amount of damage, and it hits pretty hard. The worst part? It sets you on fire. And just the fire by itself, not that big of a deal. Except if you also happen to be standing in the fire because... Oh, did the commander just show up? How convenient. Hey, buddy. I'm gonna cut you to ribbons.
With that commander eliminated, the Quill's relics are much safer. We still need to find the one they have. This camp is the command point for Grenier archaeological operations. Shut them down.
Okay. We're gonna go shut down an archaeological operations base. Who would have known that archaeology was
Nearby hostiles.
so important?
The location is ours. Wait. Incoming assault. Don't let
All
them
right.
retake this territory.
The defense portion. There we go. And I actually don't know if this frame can handle this mission. This is higher level than most of the gear that this frame has. But fortunately, we've got a couple of allies. Oh, F you. You're a bombard. You're also a piece of crap. A very real concern on some of these bigger missions is ammo. In most of the smaller missions, you never really have to worry about ammo. Oh god, not you. Please no. No, 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 no. You need to die quickly. So that guy, real tough, has a big old shield. No, not yet. We have a new schedule, and every Tuesday I'm going to be... The idea is to play games with you guys on the community. But no one seems to want to join me for Warframe. Got a couple other games that we're going to be playing in this segment as well. One of which, in the future, being Minecraft. And maybe, if depending on how finances look, got a move that I have to start worrying about here pretty soon. is going to be PUBG. I'll pick it up. I wouldn't pick it up just for myself. It doesn't look like the type of game that I would enjoy playing by myself, and none of my other friends have it. But it can be fun with other people. Yeah, I have no idea what I would do with Minecraft, aside from just a large open server for everyone to play around on. Oh god, we are so screwed. Alright, where's this last guy?
The relic was here,
Ooh.
and we'll keep hunting.
Yeah, I've got... What all do I have on the list right now? Guns of Icarus, which is kind of steampunky airship combat. Very fun. A little, at least last time I played it, a little on the rough side in terms of like getting used to things. It's very weird, very interesting, but very fun. Especially if you've got a whole team together. I want to say when I bought it, it was like 10. I mean, I was one of the earlier adopters of Minecraft, but I really haven't touched it in... How long has the game been out? Almost a decade. That's about how long it's been since I've played it.
The officer is nearby. Track down.
Yeah. Trying to... we've got Killing Floor 2, which is on the docket at some point, which is Horde Mode, the game. 7 years? Okay. So, yeah, so it's been about probably 6 years since I've played it. Get rid of you, because you are a defensive bonus jerk. Oh, I have my ult. Alright, we're about to die, but we got the guy. Oh god, we're gonna die. Oh god, we're gonna... Did we make it out? We made it out. Okay, maybe not quite. Killing Floor 2 can be a lot of fun. It can also, if you step it up too quickly to too high of a difficulty, can be incredibly frustrating. It's one of those games. Oh, he's already dead. Let's see here. Overwatch at some point. I really like what Overwatch did to kind of reinvent Team Fortress 2 to be more unique. I don't like that it came out in a time of esports and like the esports thing and players needing to be perfect on everything. So I don't like I like Overwatch. I don't like the people that play Overwatch. If that makes any sense. Those type of players are the same reason why I got out of out of League of Legends. League of Legends is actually a very well made, good game. But the people that play League of Legends, seriously, every single one of them wants to be a pro. I should say that. A large number of them want to be a pro, and if you're not playing like a pro, like they are, because undoubtedly they've been following the whatever pro circuit there is for League, then you're doing things wrong. And you're a horrible human being, and they had sex with your mother.
Anyone to take that on. Early lunch for council. The quills are at
League.
it again, telling me an important Orican relic is being unearthed by the Grenian. The quills would like
And unfortunately, that same sort of community jumped on Overwatch. Which is very unfortunate, because Overwatch is otherwise a beautiful, well-built, well-designed.
Responsible for taking the relic. Eliminate him.
One could say I've had a lot of time to think about it. Ever since I first played League, or not first played League, but since pretty early on in League, that was the sentiment that was expressed towards me. And as long as I was playing with my friends, because I just wanted to play for fun, I wanted to do stupid stuff and have fun, and, you know, whatever happens, happens. Sometimes stupid stuff wins games. Usually not, but sometimes.
That's it. The targets come out for a fight. Made it their last. With that commander eliminated, the Quill's relics are much safer. We still need to find the one they have.
Because the stupid stuff is the stuff that no one is expecting to happen, because it's dumb.
Drones to perform subsurface scans of the plane. Hijack one for me.
And the way League and a lot of Overwatch players believe you have to do things is you have to play like the pros, and if you're not playing like the pros, and to be fair, the pros know what they're doing. They wouldn't be professionals at that game if they didn't know what they were doing and weren't very good at it. But you know what? I'm not a pro. I don't spend 50 hours a day, or 50 hours a week, playing one game, trying to be perfect at it.
Drone is nearby. Find it and hack it.
So excuse me for wanting to play around and have fun with a game.
The drone is under our control
But
now.
you can't tell that to those people because you're wrong and you're dumb and everything you say and do is wrong and you need to uninstall Windows and go back to playing the slide puzzle game on Apple.
Don't harm the drone.
Go back to playing Carmen Sandiego. But that was a long diatribe about League players and some of the people who play Overwatch. Both of which, great games, very well built. The dev teams know what they're doing.
They're sending another wave to take out
Let's
the
see here. What
drone.
else have we
Stay
got?
vigilant.
Like I said, I want to get PUBG, but that's dependent on finances with my upcoming move. Because PUBG is not inexpensive. I mean, it's not exactly like the most expensive game, and it doesn't have like
More Grenier inbound. Don't let them harm the drone.
oh god, what am I thinking? Like
Drone had a
whole
complete
bunches
change of
of
relic. I know what to look for.
microtransactions to help you win the game.
They're trying to bring the relic on us in the hopes we'll forget about it and call the search off. Search the caches near my waypoint to recover it.
And there's I'm sure that I'm forgetting stuff that is really like one of the things that I had hoped to do at some point. Actually, speaking of MOBAs, HOTS is also on the list. Heroes of the Storm, because every once in a while I enjoy MOBAs. Every once in a while I want to play one. And Heroes of the Storm is pretty much the perfect MOBA for a player like me, because even though there is a pro scene, Heroes of the Storm is still considered far more of a casual player's MOBA than a serious gamer's MOBA. And I would consider myself a fairly serious gamer. I'm just not serious about MOBAs.
Just one cache remaining.
I'm sorry if I don't... I'm sorry if not every genre of game is for me. And... You know, like... I take my first-person shooters very seriously. And you know what? There are some people who will say that I'm really dumb for doing that. I take my JRPGs seriously. But sometimes you just want to have fun with a different type of game. And that is where games like Heroes of the Storm, which are not quite the competitive powerhouses of other games, but still offer like competition and nuance and complexity. And I know there's bunches of other games that I have that... So one of the things that I wanted to do at one point before this whole move thing started to be happening is I wanted to do a day where I got all of my real life friends together, we all got on stream, and we played like one camera, like Castle Crashers. Just like some big group game that we could all jump in on together and play all for you guys. But there's nothing saying that we can't do those things here. Right? Okay, I guess the day-night cycle is a little bit longer than I thought it was. I really wanted to show off the night, because the night is the coolest part around here. There we go. Here's that fourth ability. Now I can without killing anything, which is probably a mistake, because I know there's some enemies right over here that I could easily have fought with it. God, that was horrible. God, I'm usually a much better shot than that. Yes, I would agree with you there. The fact that it's more established, it's been around longer, and although Riot has taken steps to try and reduce that toxicity, because there's no way that they could not know that it's a problem. I don't think their steps have been harsh enough to actually make that point. To make that point come through to their player base enough. Essentially, it was too little of a response and far too late. Nothing in here? Okay. Whereas Blizzard, first off, got into the MOBA game, interestingly, late. Despite MOBAs being based off their game. But the biggest thing is that when Blizzard takes a stance, Blizzard is a big enough company that when they take a stance on something, the whole company has to shift behind it. And when it was, or for a while, I don't know if they're still doing it, but it was your Blizzard account gets locked. Not just you can't play HOTS or Overwatch anymore. No. Your entire Blizzard account.
I have just pinpointed the location of an enemy officer wanted for interrogation.
Ooh.
I need them brought to me along.
I wish I could interrogate him. That'd be real fun.
The officer is nearby. Track them down. There's the officer. Capture them.
Ooh. Hey, buddy. Oh, you are so screwed. Do I have enough energy for this? I do! I'm definitely going to need to increase the range on that. God, leading a flying thing is really hard. Hey, buddy. Oh. Good job, little robot that flies around near my head. Ooh, that was a good one. But even though nobody joined me today, we're going to continue this this experiment into the future. We got a lot of stuff I'm going to try. Essentially, the whole point of this and the other segment that I'm introducing on Thursday is to do a couple things. It's to expand the involvement in the community of the community that we've built here with different fun stuff. Hopefully. I hope you guys find it fun. Oh god. This build can't do it, but I have a build on one of my Warframes that is powerful enough to actually take one of those things out. Oh, miniguns. No. No, 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 no. These things, not only can they do a lot of damage if you let them spin up, they can also just literally push you around. And I have been stun-locked by those things before.
Don't have much time. An enemy drone has crashed in your area. I need you to escort it to safety. Proceed to the waypoint if you accept this mission.
Frickin' jetpacks. So Thursday's segment is game design, where we are going to be attempting to translate my favorite D&D setting of Al-Qadim from 2nd edition into the modern day 5th edition. Now, the most interesting part about that is I've played a lot of Al-Qadim. I've run a lot of Al-Qadim. I've never done anything in 5th edition. Just 2 weeks ago, I had Ryan. I gave him money to go down to our local game store and pick me up a copy of the 5th edition rulebook. And I've looked through it. I've read some sections. But I've never run anything in it. I've never even made a character in it. Maybe I should do that first off. So it'll be an interesting little experiment to see how well we can translate the 2nd edition campaign setting of Al-Qadim into 5th edition. And the main reason I'm doing that is because I made a compendium for Pathfinder, which is effectively just 3rd edition D, or 3.5 D&D. Just a little bit better written and cleaned up. And that
If you don't take this mission, the enemy will certainly recover
was
your drone.
very successful. I was able to use that and run a Pathfinder, several Pathfinder games with Al-Qadim using that. But pretty much everyone I know who role plays prefers 5th edition D&D over any other rules system.
We are too late. The enemy has recovered their drone.
And if that's the rules system that they want to play, that's fine. I can adjust the game to any rules. Like, my storylines can work in any setting, or in any rule system. But if I want to have something that makes sense and is designed from the ground up to work within a specific rules system, that is more flavored the way that I need it to be, all the better. Oh, huh. I don't think I ever knew that tunnel was there. God dang, son, would you just set already? Because there's something else I want to show off before I close out. Well, I'm not sure that the sun is going to do what I need it to in time. I guess that's a... I thought it was only like a couple of hours in total from day to night, but apparently it's a little bit longer than that. So we're going to go back so we can get full credit for everything that we did in here. We're just mostly just running around killing stuff. that's mostly all you do anyway. The fun of this game is not necessarily the missions in and of themselves. It's trying things out, trying out new weapons, trying out new warframes, customizing them, building them the way you want. That's where the real fun in Warframe comes in. Also, playing with your friends. There's a lot to be said for the Warframe community. Overall is pretty good, although there is an entire section of the game that I don't interact with called the Conclave, which is... What the heck is this? Which is like open area. Is this... No? I don't know what's going on with that ring. I am slightly confused. But yeah, we're going to go through this doorway, which will complete everything that we did out there. And then we're going to go on and I'm going to show off a couple other things. Try and entice some people into playing Warframe who may or may not already. Bring them back. Alright, so we're going to leave that weirdo human bazaar. And the humans that are left in the world are weirdos. They're all... Or maybe the Tenno are just so oddly human. So we'll go to the Mercury. So there's 3 relays on each platform, on Xbox, Sony, and PC. There's 3 relays. They're on different planets. And the reason they're on different planets is because in each platform, the other ones were destroyed in a war. So, and there have been consequences on each platform for certain things. The company that makes this, Digital Extremes, DE, they do a very good job. But this is the Mercury relay. And here is kind of an open hub area that you can... There's a few things you can explore. Every 2 weeks, there's a guy that stands here on a little platform. He's called the Void Trader. He has interesting stuff to sell that you spend a third currency called ducats on, and you get ducats by acquiring prime items from relics and selling them. I personally like to keep a large stock of prime items, not because I am ever going to make multiples of the same prime item. I keep all my stuff, but because who knows, someday it might become really valuable. Some of these things are worth like 400 or 500 platinum. But the central ring here, each of one of these doors corresponds to a syndicate. So New Loka is kind of a... they want to preserve Earth, which is currently kind of an overgrown, almost hellhole, being exploited by the Grineer. This is the Perrin sequence. They are an offshoot of the Corpus, who've been kind of outcast, but they still just want to make money. Just not within the rules that the Corpus has set up. This is my personal one that I've signed up with, the Red Veil. They want to reset the universe in a giant conflagration of flame and horror, where even they won't be spared. It's not like some weirdo cult that wants to take over the world by killing everyone else. No, no, no. They want to kill everything. This is the Steel Meridian. They are Grineer that have left the Grineer Empire and are now doing everything they can to protect what's left of humanity. Yes. Cephalon Suda. So Cephalons are an AI construct, and Cephalon Suda is one of them. And I don't really know what she wants. I know she's really into music for some reason. And then here, we have the Arbiters of Hexus. And me and a few other people in the community call these guys the Tenno Tenno because they like to Tenno 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 with Tenno in your Tenno. So you can have Tenno with your Tenno Tenno. They're super rigid in their structure. Their Warframe definitely has kind of this like East Asian malaise over the whole thing. These guys are kind of the extreme of that. Over here, you have mission control, where from this area you can go and do missions. I have never used it because I prefer to just go to missions for my ship. And over here, you have the Conclave, which is a multiplayer versus that I've only ever participated in once. I personally did not find it very intuitive or fun. But teach their own. A lot of people love the Conclave. This is Darvo. He sells stuff for platinum at a discount. And he only has a certain number of them. And things are only on sale for a certain amount of time. And then this,
You will make an excellent hunter.
the Landry Relay, where you can come over to this little thing and get some interesting little stories that the community has unlocked. Or if you do enough stuff for this guy, you can use your rep
These can make you an even stronger hunter.
to pick up a whole bunch of stuff. Things that just kind of help you out a little bit. And in this room is where you take all of your advancement tests to gain ranks. And ranks have various effects. Some of them increase... Well, all of them increase the amount of total mod space you have on your equipment by 1. Each rank does. And some of them have other effects, like you can have pre-built loadouts. Like, we'll show you here in a moment. Like, I'm qualified to take my gold dragon test, but I have not yet. But as you can see here, like, I've got just a whole bunch of presets. Some of these you earn by gaining higher and higher mastery rank. But the last thing that I want to show you is something that I built for us as a group. I built us a clan hall. The clan halls are kind of an open meeting ground / competition area / joint research facility / trading hub. So right now I've got it set so that we all spawn in the trading hall. But I can And I've set teleporters up in various places. This is the barracks hall, which has at the end of it our observatory, which acts much like the mission control does at the relays, except for it's our own personal one, just for our clan. And I've set up currently up to the rank 2 barracks, which allows us to have a total of 30 clan members. I've also have a hall of competition. So you spawn in underneath Loki there. And you can either go and do the obstacle course, which desperately needs an upgrade, because as it currently stands, a lot of the maneuvers that you can do, it was not created with those in mind. Like, you were not supposed to be able to do that. This gliding that I'm doing, the bullet glide, the game did not have that when the obstacle course was initially conceived of. Which makes it very easy to complete. And then I've got a couple of duel halls here. So if people want to have duels with their loadouts and test their might, so to speak. And then utility is literally just utility stuff. There's nothing really worthwhile in there. This is the research hall, where we have a bunch of little research rooms for gear. Now, I've unlocked the most basic stuff on my own, but some of these other ones require some pretty hefty resources to unlock the research for. Now, I already have all those because I was part of a clan previously that had all of them unlocked, but I've done the best that I can so far, getting the most basic stuff underway and getting it ready so that we can just pump tons of resources into it. This is the Tenna Lab. The most important thing about the Tenna Lab is not only does it have the most gear in it, you can just straight up build the blueprints and parts to some Warframes. So, actually a number of them. So we've got Banshee, Neza, Volt, Wukong, and Zephyr. That's a pretty healthy selection of Warframes that you can start researching right there. The Biolab has a bunch of biotech weapons. This is a dumb little room that you have to have in order to do research, and I don't know why. It's called the Oracle. It literally serves no function other than allowing you to build the research rooms. And then this is the Orokin Lab, which only matters if they bring a certain aspect to the game back. The solar rails. But currently we're in an armistice, and we'll probably forever be in an armistice. But I dumped a lot of resources into building this guy for us. So I hope you guys have at least enjoyed some of the stuff that you've seen here about Warframe. And I hope some of you will join me whenever we play it next time. But we're going to go ahead and call it a night right there. We will be back with Final Fantasy tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's our new schedule time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Final Fantasy, where we will pick back up with Noctis, Gladius, Ignis, and Prompto in the City of Canals. So I hope you guys have a good night, and I hope you will join me tomorrow.